I've chatted about some legendary figures here, and there's always something I love. I might not know these people personally, but all my research really helps me connect with them on a deeper level. And this time around, it was no different. Diving into Stagecoach Mary's story, I felt the Old West's wonder through her eyes. And as you'll see, Mary's story is an incredible journey through America's wild past. Grab your gear, partner. We're off on an adventure to uncover the amazing story of Stagecoach Mary in the Wild West. The sun beat down on the dusty plains of Montana as a lone stagecoach rumbled along the rough terrain. Inside sat a gruff-looking woman with steely eyes and a jaw set firm against the wind. At the reins, she held them tight, guiding the coach through the rugged landscape with a skill born of years of experience. But this wasn't just any coach driver. It was Mary Fields, known as Stagecoach Mary. Born into slavery in 1832, Mary's early years were marked by the harsh realities of a nation divided. But with the coming of freedom, she chose not to look back. Instead, she set her sights on the Wild West, a place where the horizon was as limitless as her dreams. Hailing from Knoxville, Tennessee, Mary wasn't just any woman. She was tall, towering over most men at over 6 feet. Her presence was as commanding as the mountain peaks that defined the Montana landscape. With a strong build, she defied the conventional expectations of her time. She favored men's clothing, a practical choice that allowed her to move freely in a world that often tried to confine her. And her voice was as powerful as her stature, booming with laughter and curses that could rival any seasoned frontiersman. Mary's journey to Montana was as adventurous as the tales she would later become famous for. Her decision to leave Tennessee was a bold one, a testament to her pioneering spirit. Arriving in Western lands was a daunting task in itself. But Mary, with her indomitable will, saw opportunity where others saw only hardship. In the heart of Montana, Mary found work at the Little Boca Convent, a place that became the backdrop of another chapter in her extraordinary life. It was here that she proved her mettle, working tirelessly hauling supplies, tending gardens, and even fending off wolves that dared to encroach on the convent's domain. But as independent as Mary was, she couldn't resist the call of the open range. The lure of adventure, much like the rolling hills of Montana, was something she couldn't stay away from. While working at the convent, Mary's spirit began to chafe against the confines of her responsibilities. Despite her hard work, she found herself yearning for a life less ordinary. Perhaps it was the isolation of the convent, or maybe it was the quiet hum of routine that didn't resonate with her restless heart. Whatever the reason, Mary decided to leave the convent and strike out on her own. Now, this wasn't a decision made lightly. Leaving a job was a big deal back then. But for Mary, the pull of the open range was too strong to ignore. As she turned her back on the convent and headed into the vast expanse of Montana, she was taking a leap of faith. But this was a leap that would change her life forever. With her departure from the convent, Mary was stepping into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Her next move would be a defining one, a move that would lead her to the role that made her a legend, the role of a stagecoach driver. When Mary arrived in Cascade, Montana, she was met with a scene that was typical of the Wild West. It was a bustling hub of activity with miners, ranchers, and adventurers seeking their fortune or a good time. The air was thick with the smell of wood smoke and sweat, and the sound of laughter and music spilled out of the saloon doors. Despite the allure of such a vibrant town, Mary wasn't interested in settling down just yet. She was drawn to the nearby countryside, captivated by the rugged beauty of the mountains and the endless possibilities that seemed to stretch as far as the eye could see. It was here that she laid her roots, building a small cabin that became her home. But life in the wilderness wasn't easy. There were chores to be done, fires to be tended, and meals to be cooked. Yet Mary tackled each task with the same determination that had brought her to this point in her life. Her cabin might have been small and isolated, but it was a sanctuary that she created for herself, a place where she could be just Mary, free from the expectations and limitations that had followed her for so long. It was during these early days in her cabin that Mary began to carve out her own path in life. She was no longer the young slave girl or the worker at the convent. She was becoming Stagecoach Mary, a woman forging her own destiny in a world that had never seen the likes of her before. This is when Mary crossed paths with a former boss of hers from the convent. Recognizing her strength and tenacity, he offered her a job that would change her life forever, driving a stagecoach for the U.S. Postal Service. It was an offer that not only challenged her skills, but also opened doors to a world she had only glimpsed from afar. Accepting the job, Mary found herself behind the reins of a stagecoach, traversing the rugged terrain of Montana. With each mile she covered, she added another layer to the legend that was Stagecoach Mary. For those who had the privilege of meeting her, Mary Fields, aka Stagecoach Mary, was more than just a tough, foul-mouthed woman who drove a stagecoach. She was a beacon of strength and kindness in a land that demanded both to survive. At a time when most women were confined to the domestic sphere, Mary was out on the open range, defying expectations and stereotypes. She was a trailblazer for women's rights, even if she didn't realize it herself. Her story is a reminder that the fight for equality was fought not just in boardrooms and courtrooms, but also on the dusty roads of the Wild West. Mary's impact went beyond her trailblazing spirit. She was known for her infectious laughter, her booming voice, and her uncanny ability to find joy even in the toughest of situations. Her presence was a source of comfort and strength to those who knew her, especially in a time when life on the frontier was often lonely and challenging. Her kindness was legendary. She would give food to the hungry, whiskey to the weary, and money to those in need, never expecting anything in return. She had a soft spot for children, often spending her own money to send them to school or simply to give them a hot meal. In the saloons, she would arm wrestle with the best of them, her massive strength surprising and delighting onlookers. And in the fields, she would drink men under the table, proving that she wasn't just a force to be reckoned with, but also a woman of wit and charm. Mary Fields was more than just a stagecoach driver or a saloon singer. She was a symbol of the Wild West, a woman who lived life on her own terms in a world that tried to confine her. So the next time you think of the Wild West, remember Stagecoach Mary, the woman who refused to be tamed. The roar of the crowd faded as Mary Fields walked away from the poker table, her winnings tucked safely away. She strolled out of the saloon, squinting against the setting sun. The Montana sky was a blaze of orange and purple, a sight that never failed to amaze her. She'd chosen this life, this existence on the edge of civilization where the only sounds were the wind whistling through the valleys and the distant moo of cattle. It was a far cry from the hustle and bustle of Tennessee, the place she called home. Yet here she was, a former slave turned stagecoach driver, holding the reins of her life and driving it at a pace that suited her. Her mail route took her deep into the heart of Montana, through forests that whispered secrets and over mountains that touched the clouds. Each bend in the road was a surprise, each hill a new challenge. But Mary never faltered. She was a force of nature, as untamed and wild as the land she roamed. Her stagecoach was her domain, the mail her precious cargo. She delivered the mail come rain, shine, or blizzard, a testament to her unwavering commitment to her job. Even when the elements raged and the snow piled high, Mary didn't back down. She was a one-woman army, battling the elements and any threat that dared cross her path. She was fiercely independent, relying on no one but herself, a trait that had been honed during her years as a slave and had only grown stronger with time. She was a woman of few words, but when she spoke, her voice was as powerful as a gunshot. Her curses could make a sailor blush, and her stories could keep a campfire burning late into the night. To the people of Montana, Mary was more than just a stagecoach driver. She was a symbol of the Wild West, a woman who lived life on her own terms and didn't let anything stand in her way. As the years passed, the legend of Stagecoach Mary only grew. The tale of her strength, independence, and kindness echoing across the frontier. She became a figure of inspiration, a beacon for other women who dreamed of a life beyond the confines of society's expectations. But as the sun set on her life, the legend only grew brighter, reminding everyone who knew her that Stagecoach Mary wasn't just a name. It was a testament to the indomitable spirit of a woman who refused to be tamed. That's all the time we have for today's episode, folks. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this week's story about the one and only Stagecoach Mary. We'll catch you all next time right here on our channel.